Hello and welcome back to another classic WoW video. So today we will look at recipes you can buy from a vendor and resell on the auction house to make profit. Basically, this is the easiest way to make gold in classic WoW in my opinion, and it just requires a bit of knowledge or research to actually find the recipes and then just make bank on other people either not having this knowledge or being too lazy to obtain the recipes themselves. To put this into perspective, I have used some of these recipes myself to make over 700 gold in classic WoW. I told my friend about one of the recipes and he made 800 gold in a week, and I have many other friends that have made similar numbers. The key here is knowledge and limiting knowledge as well, as the more people know about it, the more difficult it becomes to obtain the recipes, and the more difficult it becomes to sell them, right? Because some of the recipes are rare from vendors, so there's only one recipe up, and when it's bought, you have to wait for another one to pop up again. So looking at it that way, me making this video could hurt this way of making gold, but then again, the main reason this works is because of laziness and immediacy. For example, Runecloth Gloves recipes started selling like crazy 2 weeks prior to Sul'Gurub launching because a ton of cloth users started leveling Tailoring for their Bloodvine sets. In which case they will act out of immediacy and buy the recipe for whatever it sells for. The recipe is 1 gold at the vendor, but it's camped 24/7, and I was able to sell one recipe on the auction house for 75 gold at one point, which is 74 gold raw profit. The last 2 weeks before Sul'Gurub came out, I personally sold 15 patterns, about 1 per day, anywhere between 30 and 60 gold per pattern, and my friend also sold his patterns at the same time, and even though we were undercutting each other, we both sold all of our patterns. Some of the recipes we'll talk about in this video are useful in phase 5 and phase 6, just like the Runecloth Gloves worked in phase 4, so it will be really interesting to see how much this video actually affects those patterns and recipes, and let's see how much gold we can make here. I will leave a list of all of the items in the description down below, so you can get a more clean look at it just in case you want to, but we'll talk about them now as well. So let's just get into it, shall we? Actually, before we get into it, gold making methods like this is available to patrons a long time in advance, usually anywhere from a week or a month or 2 before I make the videos on them, so some of my patrons have actually already made over 1000 gold on the Runecloth patterns, which is crazy. Basically, whenever I discover gold making methods like this, I post it on my Patreon, and once they have gotten some profits from it, I'll make the video. So with that little sellout out of the way, let's just get right into it. Here are the recipes. So some of the recipes are a rare from a vendor. For example, you can only buy 1 pattern, and then there's a 10 to 90 minute restock timer on the vendor. These are usually worth the most when you're flipping. Now most of the patterns will be rare like this, so you can just check the list in the description, and there will be a star over all of the patterns that are rare. So, Pattern Runecloth Gloves. This is sold by Kia in Winterspring at Everlook. This is a very good pattern for new tailors, as it's the best way to skill up from 275 to 300 tailoring. It is also the pattern that I have made the most profit with, and it sold like crazy for phase 4's release. Pattern Runecloth Bag. This is also sold by Kia in Winterspring at Everlook. It is also wanted by tailors that are skilling up and want some gold back from their investments. Basically, it's a more costly version of the Runecloth Gloves, but you actually get some gold back by selling the bags, which is why tailors want it, and it's a good way to skill up those last skills in tailoring. Plan's Moonsteel Broadsword. This is sold by Serena Cromwind in Stranglethorn Vale at Booty Bay. This sword is used by Alliance for logistics badges in phase 5, and this recipe / plans could be worth a few gold in phase 5 as it's used in the AQ war effort or the logistics badges turn-ins. The plans are for the massive iron axe, which is sold by Jacquelina Dramit and Var in Stranglethorn Vale. This is the Horde equivalent of the Moonsteel Broadsword and is used in the Horde version of that quest, aka is used in phase 5. Pattern Icy Cloak. This is sold by Misha Jans in Hillsbrad Foothills for Alliance and Gokha in Dustvallow Marsh for Horde. This is the cloak with the highest frost resist in the game, at least when it comes to craftable / sellable cloaks, and people looking to min-max in Naxxramas in phase 6 might want these cloaks, and therefore the pattern might be very lucrative. Schematic Ice Deflector. This is sold by Riss Loose Bolt in Alterac Mountains. This could be a very good consumable for raiding in Naxxramas, and possibly even the Viscidus fight in AQ as well, so basically it will be good for P5 and P6. The schematic for the Gyrofreeze Ice Reflector. This is sold by Scissor Fistbolt in Winterspring. This is a very good trinket that could be useful in AQ and Naxxramas for the same purposes as the Ice Deflector mentioned earlier, as well as the fact that it's an insane PvP trinket to use against Frost Mages, and that could be very good in TBC arenas as well. Schematic Thorium Tube. This is sold by Scissor Fistbolt in Winterspring. Crafting thorium tubes is a great way to skill up engineering, past 275 skill, and could sell to people leveling engineering. Schematic Deep Dive Helmet. This is sold by Juby Gadget Spring in the Shara. This is a helmet that allows you to breathe underwater, which can be handy for world PvP, farming murlocs in STV, or any underwater activity, and it's a flavor item that will always be wanted. Recipe Frost Oil. This is sold by Broken in Alterac Mountains. This will be super helpful in Phase 5 for Ankiraj, especially for the Viscidus fight. Basically, the really short version here is that Viscidus must be hit by a certain amount of frost attacks to get frozen, and in these parsing days and speed clear days, people will want to min-max even as melee to deal frost damage in any way. This oil applied to dual-wield weapons could be super helpful for that fight, and the recipe is a rare recipe bought from this vendor with limited supply. Recipe Transmute Arcanite. This is sold by alchemist Pestlesug in Tanaris. This recipe is wanted by every alchemist, and you can buy them for 5 gold at the vendor and resell for 10 gold plus to lazy people. Beware that this recipe is not a rare recipe, and the only thing you're banking on here is people being lazy. Another recipe that is not a rare recipe, and it's just the same thing, people being lazy, is Pattern Mooncloth. This is sold by Kia in Winterspring at Everlook. So you basically have 3 patterns from Kia in Everlook. This is used frequently by tailors, and you can make some gold by people being lazy and buying this on the auction house instead of going to Winterspring. Now I'm sure there are more recipes as well, but in my opinion these are the most profitable ones. Obviously, some of these are probably already past their most profitable days, like the Arcanite Transmute and Mooncloth recipes, were at their best at the beginning of Classic, when everyone was leveling professions on their mains and their first alt, and if 1% of players are lazy enough to buy items like this on the auction house, if there's 1,000 people buying the recipe every day, that 1% would equals to 10 people, so the more people are leveling professions, the more recipes you will sell. Patterns like Runecloth Gloves and Runecloth Bags were at their peak the week before Phase 4 came out, and for 2 weeks after Phase 4 had come out as well, due to a lot of casters skilling up tailoring, and these 2 recipes being the best and easiest way to skill up the last few skill points. You can probably still make decent profits with all of these recipes though, but I'm just saying they won't hit those crazy numbers now, because they have been at their peak and they kind of function as a testament to how good this gold making option really is, if you know how to use it, and I believe some of the other patterns mentioned in this video could be huge moneymakers for Phase 5 and Phase 6. My personal favourite is going to be the Frost Oil recipe, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out. It is so far, you have to travel so far to get it, and it's in the middle of nowhere, so I don't imagine anyone being willing to go here unless you have an alt. You can go over there and just stick at the vendor and then log out, and just log in every now and then to check the vendor. I don't see anyone going here on a regular basis. Other items like the schematic for the deep dive helmet could also be profitable in later expansions like TBC, as you have to swim to reach a certain raid and dungeon, and the Gyrofreeze Ice Reflector trinket, which I believe could be huge in arenas when you're playing against a mage. The plans for the Massive Iron Axe could play a huge part in Phase 5 for the logistics badges for Horde, and the Moonsteel Broadsword for Alliance. This really is the easiest way to make gold in Classic WoW. It requires pretty much no effort, and if you just station one character at each vendor, you can log on each character once per hour, check the vendor, then go back to doing something else for an hour, then check again in 1 hour. It's perfect if you're looking to make some gold while you're studying, as you can just check the vendors once, which takes 5 minutes, then go AFK for an hour and repeat that process. You can do this while studying, working, playing something else, writing video ideas like this one, or while smashing that like button. So there it is, a quick list of vendors and items where you can buy certain patterns, recipes, schematics, or formulas, which you can resell on the auction house to make a lot of profit. I chose to include a short visual of where the vendors are when I mentioned them in the video, so you can see their names and roughly where they are located. And if you want to see exactly where to find them, you can find a list of the items and vendors in the description down below, so you can check the coordinates on Wowhead to find the exact location of the vendor you're interested in. I hope you guys found this video interesting, and I hope it will help you make some gold in Classic WoW as well. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me over there, it really means a lot. If you are supporting me on Patreon, I hope you were able to make some profit from this before this video went live, and I will keep you guys updated on Patreon with some exclusive posts over there as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and honestly, thank you so much for the support lately. It's been absolutely mind-blowing seeing the like versus dislike ratio, and the nice comments. It's honestly made my day so much better, seeing you guys enjoying the content I put out, and it helps keep me motivated to upload even more content. Thank you all so much for watching, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.